Good afternoon, and welcome to Health and Information for June of 2024. And as you can see, we are out at sea. We're on the Mariner of the Seas, out about the central Gulf of Mexico. So our program today, we're going to talk a little bit about longevity and time and so forth. As most of you know, we just finished in the month of May celebrating our office's 29th anniversary of our Tulsa location, which means that now moving forward, we're into our 30th year. And we have some special things that we're going to do basically for the whole year to celebrate the 30th year of our practice. A couple of the things that we're going to do are going to be a little different than we've ever done before. And actually, we're going to have things that we've never had before. So we're going to be able to see a few different new things going on for the year. Our patient appreciation days are going to be directed a little bit more in a slightly different direction. You know, when I go back and think about longevity and the 30 years that we've been here, I remember back to 1995 when we first moved back to Tulsa after being in Florida for 10 years. And we sit and talk and have discussions about, I wonder how things are going to be when we have our 30th anniversary. And this was a topic that Lisa and I talked about quite a bit during that time. As many of you know, about 5 years ago, she lost her battle with cancer, so she's not here to see the 30th anniversary, but her influence is certainly going to be here and will be here, and you'll see a little bit of that as we go along. You know, when you've been doing the same job for 30 years, or close to 40 years total for me, I've had a lot of people who will ask me, hey, you know, you get bored, you get tired of it, you get to the point where, you know, you'd like to do something else. And it's very interesting, but over these years, I have never really had that issue. Seeing people get well, removing the interference, getting pain reduced, getting symptoms reduced, people back to work, they're functioning better. All of that still brings out a very big, very strong feeling that is probably more than anything else could be accomplishment. You feel like you've done something and helped people accomplish something that they may not be able to do in any other way. You know, one of my jobs and my belief in this is very strong, is that we want to remove the interference to the spine. Remove the interference, let the body heal itself, because that's how it's designed. We heal from the top down, from the inside out. And this was Dr. B.J. Palmer's philosophy when he developed chiropractic back in the early 1900s. As we developed and studied and researched, we found out that the brain has the power. It's programmed to have the power to heal. Where we run into problems in healthcare is that we interfere with that body's ability to heal. We interfere with the brain and the spinal cord. We do that by having injuries, by having repetition activities that cause us issues. Anywhere in the body that we have a problem, a misalignment, a pinching of a nerve, it reduces the interference. Now, you've probably heard me say many times before, it takes the weight of a nickel, the pressure of the weight of a nickel on a nerve to cut the function of that nerve by 50%. Well, a 50% cut of a nerve supply is a significant amount of reduction and can cause some very significant and or severe situations of pain, suffering, weakness, numbness, tingling, all those other symptoms that can come along with the nerve interference. As we remove the interference, that nerve is then being able to function back to normal, and the body can begin to heal. And this is where we come in every day. Our goal, our job, is to find those misalignments, find those nerve interferences, and in chiropractic we call that the subluxation. So the main purpose of removing the interference, allowing the body to heal, is what is going to bring health back. You know, Dr. Chung-Ha Soo, who was a researcher at the University of Colorado, once said that to obtain optimal health, you need 100% of your body parts working at 100% of their capacity 100% of the time. So anything that reduces those 100% will reduce the ability to have optimum health. Now, if you've had a body part removed in surgery, you're never going to be 100%, but we can still obtain a goal of being as close to that as humanly possible. So the success that we see in chiropractic over the years is probably the most rewarding thing that I see every day, every week in the office. That's why I'm able to do what I do, and why I do what I do for such a long period of time, because you don't ever get tired of seeing people get better. You don't ever get tired of feeling that success, that feeling that you get when somebody has made a dramatic improvement. They can move a shoulder now that was frozen. They can walk where they couldn't walk before. They come in on either crutches or walking with a cane or a walker because of a slipped disc in the low back, and they're able to walk out within a very short period of time and have no pain. These are things that I've seen just this year, and it encourages me. And that's one of the motivational factors that keeps me excited about what I do every day and wanting to continue to do what I do every day. So as we celebrate our 30th year in practice in Tulsa, we have decided that we're going to have a year-long benefit. And we're going to do that to support the hospice house, Porta Caeli. Now, as I said a few minutes ago earlier today, that many of you know that 5 years ago, Lisa was battling cancer. She lost that battle in 2019. But the last 14 days, she stayed at Porta Caeli, which is the hospice house there in Tulsa. Porta Caeli provided all of the support that you could need for not only for her, but for all of us, the family, friends, co-workers, so forth, to be able to allow us to be family and not caregivers. So I stayed at the house for the 14 days that she was there. And when I'd get up in the morning before I'd go to the office, they would have food ready. They would make sure I got to eat in the morning beforehand. When I got back in the evening after office hours, we would be able to have dinner, relax, read, talk, and we did a lot of talking. And this 30th year is one of the things that were on her mind then, because we were just done our 25th shortly before that. And so now that we're going into the 30th, it kind of brings back a lot of memories and a lot of those discussions that we had. So we're going to play a video, an interview that I did a while back, a few years ago, about Porta Caeli, and I interviewed their director at the time, and they're going to explain to you exactly what Porta Caeli does, the inner workings and so forth. And when we come back from that video, I'm going to show you the way that we're going to support Porta Caeli for the next year, and some of the procedures, the policies, and the programs that we're going to do during this next year to support Porta Caeli. So watch this video and we'll be back. So I want to introduce the operations director for Porta Caeli, Mary Bechtold. Welcome to the program. Thanks for having me. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, most people when they think of hospice, sometimes you get a funny look from people, or they give you there's a stigma attached to it. And what I have always said to them was that what we're dealing with is giving compassion for end-of-life care, and also taking the caregiving away from the family so that they can be just family and they can be there with their loved one during that final time. But tell us a little bit more about the function of hospice as a whole.
Porta Caeli House is a social hospice house in which people who are at the end of their life can come and stay with us. Usually the last 30 days is part of our criteria. It is a time for the family to just be family. It is time for them to be the daughter or to be the husband or the spouse, whatever it may be, and not have to worry about when that person's needing their medications, when they need to be repositioned, or making sure that all their daily needs are taken care of, and it relieves that burden. Hospice itself is end of life. Usually a person can be on hospice the last 6 months of life or less, but that is when comfort measures only are being taken to keep that person comfortable.
Yeah, so there's no corrective treatment that's provided then in hospice. It's specifically to keep them...
It's palliative care.
Yeah, comfortable and as much out of pain and discomfort as possible.
Right. We contract with hospice providers. So those are local agencies that dictate the plan of care. Our staff and volunteers here just bring the person in and love on them. We call them guests, and so they bring them into our home, and we follow what that hospice is set out to make sure that that person is as comfortable as possible. But we bring them in like they're our family. We're not a licensed medical facility, so.
So when somebody is going into hospice, is it pretty much their choice if they come into a facility like Porta Caeli, or is it a recommendation? Is there criteria that they have to meet to be able to come in here versus not?
So it's kind of based on the need. Porta Caeli, our mission is to extend Christ's love to those at the end of their life when dying at home is not an option. That could mean that they don't have a home. That could mean that they don't have adequate caregiver situation. That could be that the family's exhausted and, they just can't do it anymore. It could be that they don't want to die in their own home, that maybe they don't want their house to kind of have that stigma of this is where I died, and every time you go into the living room, this is where Mom died. They don't want people to remember that.
Exactly.
So our criteria is pretty simple. We have a weight limit that we ask, try to keep, that we don't have guests over 250 pounds, and that's for the safety of our staff and volunteers. We also ask that they have an Oklahoma do not resuscitate on file. That can be physician signed or by the person themselves. That they are enrolled in a local hospice agency. Usually those hospice agencies are being paid through the person's private insurance or maybe Medicare or Medicaid. Porta Caeli is a nonprofit. We do not charge anything for someone to come and stay here. And so we rely completely on donations.
Okay, so when somebody comes in here then and they are here, you said up to 30 days, but what would you say would be your average stay? What's the average that somebody would be here?
Sure. Our average length of stay right now is actually 8 days. We would love to get people in, sooner or have them stay longer, but oftentimes it's we aren't God, and we don't have a magic ball as to when they're at 30 days, and so you should come stay with us right now.
Right.
We do also have sometimes people that stay longer than 30 days. It's not like at 30 days we say, "Oh, that's it, you got to go."
Yeah.
We work with them, and as long as they're steady decline, they'll still stay with us.
I see. Okay. Now, one of the things that you had just mentioned a few minutes ago is that there is no cost to your guests to stay here. How do you get your funding then? Because you get your building and your employees, you've got food. How's that handled?
So, it's through donations. Now, when we first started, years ago, for about 30 years, almost 30 years, there was a place called St. Joseph's Residence, and this is when AIDS patients would come and stay there and pass away. But as that continued, the AIDS epidemic continued to evolve. We ended up, having people not need that service, but they did see that there was a greater need for a place for people dying of other things. That at the time we only had one of these in Tulsa, and so this would be a great way to handle that situation. So they took that endowment of the sale of the house and all of that and created Porta Caeli House. We also raised a lot of funds to be able to build our home and things like that.
So your capacity here is how many people?
We have 12 beds. We utilize 8 of them. Part of that is to maintain that our quality and our high standards of excellence are continued. And so that's why we keep our bed numbers at 8.
Okay. Now, when the family comes in, and I can tell from experience, and I could explain it, but I'm going to let you because you're here every day. But what services do you provide for the family when you have a guest here?
Sure. So when we have a guest and we get the privilege of getting to meet their families, and we want them to feel at home. So, we offer and open up our home just like we would for someone that was in our own home. We want them to put their feet up on the table and, be able to watch TV or just be comfortable. So we try to serve at least dinner and lunch, depending on staffing and the amount of food and all of that, and donations of food. It's not always possible, but for the most part, we try to serve families food while they're here. We also have an area that has full of snacks and goodies, and there's almost always like some sort of baked goods sitting out. But we also have a shower that the families can use. Oftentimes maybe they're coming from out of town and staying actually in the room with the guests. We have sofa beds that pull out. We also have air mattresses and things. That can save them a fair amount of money if you're coming from out of town and you can just stay with your family member. So, we say that adults can stay. Minors can come and stay as long as they're accompanied with an adult.
Do you have a limit of how many family can stay with a guest?
Because of our other guests and our other families here, we'd like to keep the amount of people just in that room, not kind of in other rooms and things like that.
Right.
But not necessarily. I mean, we've had families with, 20 kids, and, our house has been loud and fun and great times for people to come and see their family members and each other, because sometimes this is it, maybe this is the oldest person in the family dying and they all want to spend time together. So
exactly.
We don't have like a limit on that. I mean, I just say comfortably keeping the numbers, to a manageable amount.
To a manageable amount.
Right, and depending on the guest, whether or not they can have a lot of people around at that time, if they're comfortable with it. It's really all about what the guest's needs are and how to make sure that those are being met.
So when you have the family there, and I can tell you from experience because I spent 14 days in this house, and it is exactly what she just said. It's comfort, and there's plenty of food, and we learned a whole lot about the benefits. Now, there's only 2 of these houses in Tulsa, correct?
There's only 2 in Tulsa. There's another house in Bartlesville. There's a couple of other ones that are opening up throughout the state, and they're all part of the Omega network, which is a network of social model hospice houses.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand across the country, at last count, there's still only 50 hospice houses across the country.
Well, they're within that network.
In the network, okay.
There are some other ones or some places that they may charge differently, or they may not just fall under the social model hospice. But yeah.
But in this group.
In this group, yeah. But there's, I believe,
So how many employees do you actually have that are here on a routine basis?
Sure. So we have about 24 paid staff. Each shift, which is day shift, evening shift, and overnight shift, have 2 paid employees. Those are the caregivers. They're the ones that give the medications. They're the ones that act as a companion. They're the ones that are repositioning. They're watching for signs of end of life. They're making sure that the guest is comfortable. They're also being the first line of hospitality to our guest families, and making sure that everyone that comes into our house is welcome.
And then you have volunteers.
And we have lots of volunteers that are wonderful, and they're we couldn't do this without them. So they're answering phones, they're making meals, they are also doing clerical work. We have master gardeners, and we have pets that come in with their owners, and so we
That's a good question. You're allowed to bring your pet in?
You're welcome to bring your pets in, as long as they are house trained and on a leash. If they're in the main areas of the house, as long as they're on a leash, that's fine, and they're potty trained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now on the second half of the program, we're going to have some photographs, kind of do a photo tour rather than a video tour of the facility. That way we don't get people in the arbitrarily on the video, which we don't want to do. So if anybody would like to contact you or the facility, they want to make a donation, either cash donations or food or something, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. You can go to info at portacaeli.org, and they can email on there. You can also check out our website, which is www.portacaeli.org, and we have a Facebook page. And then our phone number is 918-935-2600.
Okay, and we'll have all that on the screen for you as well. We'll be back with the video or the photo tour of the Porta Caeli House after our break. seeing that video has given you kind of a sense of why I have felt so strong about working to support Porta Caeli. They take no money. You can't pay them when you're staying there. They do not accept anything. So ever since 2019, we have tried to support Porta Caeli in food drives, and we're going to continue to do that in the rest of 2024 and through 2025. But we're going to start another project as well, because we want to find a way to support them and also celebrate our office's 30th anniversary. So we've come up with our 30th anniversary logo, and we have a series of products that we have put together, and these products will have our logo on them, and you can purchase these products at a website. We're going to give you the QR code here on screen in just a bit, and all the proceeds for the sale of any of the products that we have goes directly 100% to support Porta Caeli. So I'm going to go through and show you some of the items that we're going to have here. The first one is our baseball hat, and it's going to have the logo on it and the Bislin Chiropractic, and they are very heavy canvas type hats. They're very well made, very well done. We're also going to have coffee mugs. Now, some of you have seen the coffee mugs during our 30th anniversary that has our other logo on it, but this is the new logo for starting here in June and our 30th anniversary. We have license plates. Then probably my favorite one is the tumbler. These are a 20 ounce, and by the way, if anybody's interested, they keep tea or coffee hot for about 4 hours. It took before I could actually drink it the other day. Now we have a t-shirt that has the logo. You can get these in gray or black with the logo on it. And then finally we have the tote bags that have our logo on them also. All of these items are available on the webpage. The QR code is on your screen so that you will be able to order those. We're going to put together several things during the year. Those of you who have t-shirts, we're going to have promo days for t-shirts in the office. Throughout the year, we're going to have several of our patient appreciation days where we're going to have maybe raffles for things. We're going to have food drives. We're going to have supply drives, things that Porta Caeli needs. Like, for instance, they need little soaps and shampoos and that kind of stuff. So we're going to do these things throughout the year to support Porta Caeli for the work that they do for all the people who they are able to serve in a year. Hospice is one of the very underreported, underappreciated businesses that are available to people with terminal illness. So thank you for your attention today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us at the front desk, call the office, click on the QR code here on the video, go look at the webpage, and you'll be able to find multiple sizes in the t-shirts. They can fit everybody. And I do want to say a special thank you to Popco Concessions. By the way, they're the same people we get our popcorn from. As all of you know, it's the best in Tulsa. And they have branched out into these items that they make. And we're going to probably have sweatshirts maybe in the fall. And I don't know what else they're going to come up with. There's several other products that we're going to be able to add to the repertoire as we go. So until next time, I'm Dr. James Bislin. We are coming to you from the middle of the Gulf of Mexico aboard the Mariner of the Seas. As you can see, he points out to the wake here behind us. The water is absolutely beautiful. Nice little white caps, nice breeze blowing. Have a very happy, healthy, and safe month. We'll see you next time.